I had a very different video planned for this reveal. Basically, I was going to do what I did with the Dyna, which was I went off and saw the bike, I bought the bike and then picked up the bike and did a happy-go-lucky ride home on the new Harley and so forth and so on. However, this is a classic tale of troubles with the shovel, or shovelhead troubles, whatever you want to call it. So what are you looking at? You're looking at a 1972 FLH shovelhead. And yes, it's got a kickstart. It's also got an electric start. I'll show you all the bits and bobs about it. It's got some bad things and it's got some good things and it's got some worrying things. And unfortunately, it had been sitting for I would say 3 to 4 years. And as such, though it turns over and though it runs to a point, I wasn't able to ride it home, so I got towed back instead. So I've got a little bit of work to do, which of course is something I'm looking forward to. It's time I got a shovel because I'm reaching my 50th year. This is a 72, so this is actually older than I am, this particular bike, but I got it for a good deal, mainly because of what's actually on the engine rather than the bike itself. It's got a few things I don't like. We'll talk about some of them. I think you can see one of them right there, for an example, that I don't like, that are going to either change or I'm going to redo or something like that. So we should probably start from the front. Now, if you know your rules and regulations in Australia, pre-1974, these things don't need to be on the bike. However, I actually quite like them. So, starting from the front, we've got a 21-inch wheel coming up to, I believe these to be 35, possibly 33. I haven't measured them yet. I should just mention, I haven't cleaned this. This is exactly how it came to me. I have done absolutely nothing to it at all. So, what you're seeing is what I'm working with. So I'm hoping that you're seeing some good stuff and some bad stuff, and we'll see a difference over time. So starting at the front, because this is all new to me as well, I'm sort of making mistakes, etc. If you see mistakes or hear mistakes, just holler. So I think these are 35 or 33 mil forks. It's got it looks like it's a standard length. I don't know what the standard length should be, but it certainly looks like that. Compared to the Dyna, the rake the rake on the Dyna is a little bit greater. I think it's 32 degrees, but it looks the same. 21-inch front wheel and brake, that's staying. So is the guard, but that's for legal issues only. I would prefer to get rid of the guard. As for the patina you're seeing, I'm in two minds whether or not to completely get rid of the patina and do it up, or keep the patina as it is. So you'll see things like this rust along here on the guard brace. Yeah, I don't know. So moving on up, we've got a rather in-your-face front brake light switch. I'd like to mount that possibly underneath like the more modern bikes do. Single headlight, got plans. Okay, we're going to start talking about some of the things that I find a little bit dangerous and or not really what I want. The first thing is on the accelerator cable. We're going to talk about the bars in a moment. On the accelerator cable, I despise braided lines, and this accelerator cable, let's see if we can get it's very notchy, and I don't know if it'll turn up in the video, but certainly I can see down through there that it's one of those plastic Amazon jobs. So I'm probably going to remove this for a better branded one. It's certainly going to get rid of the braided. That's one of the features of this bike, actually, just before we come back to the front. You see I've got braided oil lines there too. I hate braided oil lines. You can't tell what the oil line underneath is, whether it's cracked or not, heat, bulging, etc. So a lot of these are going to go back to vinyl or black. So this is going to come and become a black vinyl one. It's going off to the carburetor. As for the brake lines, I do like braided brake lines. I think that's a good thing. From here to the junction box, possibly go to the black. So from that point of view, I don't like this. This is changing. I'm having a bit of a problem at the moment with the brake fluid coming out of the breather, which is just next to the C of the cycles there. Whenever I use the brake, then it drops onto the tank. So I've got to fix that. But then I'm thinking I might get a whole new set up here anyway. As you can see, that mirror is awful, and I do not understand why people put stickers of Harley Davidson on their mirrors. I just don't get that. So anyway, on the right side, I have the, obviously not right side, it's right side for you, but I have a clutch, which is the heaviest clutch known to man. I had a guy try it, and he's ridden 3 or 4 Harleys in the past, my Harley as well. I've ridden the Honda as well. That is insane. We're going to talk about what that might be a little later. And of course, we've got the indicators, which have been wired up incorrectly. So whereas I would think that's actually left, that's actually right, and that is actually left instead of right. So yeah, I can fix that. Am I going to keep the indicators? Yes, I am. So this little unit is going to go onto the thing that I need to talk about now. So let's talk about these bars. These bars are ridiculous. I find them unsafe. I did manage to get the bike to move back and forward and go down a small little area down the road there and back. The turning is, it's awful, and I don't feel safe on them at all. Also, it's difficult to start. We'll talk about that one a little later. As you can see, that they haven't done a very good job in doing the internally throttle wiring, and there's a crack going all the way up here too. The bars are going. That's a given, and I've got 2 sets that I can try out. I'm not a big fan of these huge munty risers either, but they're doing the job. So I've got a set of smaller risers that bring it down to here. I'm a big boy. I'm 6'2". I don't need a huge, and even then, these bars have me looking very, very odd. So the bars are definitely going. Okay, so let's move down through the bike. This is maybe a very long video, and I'm sorry if that annoys you, but I'm just going to take it for my use as well. We're going to go through the bike. We're going to start from the top up here. That is a Dakota digital gauge, and I'll just switch it on. That should show up on the video. I hate it. I hate it with such a passion. It's going. It's going, and you can also see some extra light switches turning on and off, and high beam and low beam have been just plonked straight into this, which is a little annoying. I'm going to have to get a new binnacle as well. That is going. Fine, yes, it can show you neutral and so forth and so on, but that's what these are for as well. So I'm removing the digital gauge. The tanks are staying. I love the tanks, especially that. I think that's awesome. Look at that. Yeah, I love those tank badges. Getting rid of this silly thing going down through here. I like to see the backbone going through. I'm a bit of a guy who likes to see the mechanics of things. So that's the top half there. We're going to work our way around the bike from what do they call it? The A side? I don't know. Anyway, the A side, and then work to the B side. So as we're coming down here, we'll talk about the engine. Now, engine has leaks. It's got a leak coming out from in here. Just when you pull this down and you can pull this out, you can sort of see witness, oil, etc. So it's weeping out of the top of the push rod. I suspect the seals are either broken, cracked after misuse, or possibly not even there. I've had the keeper out, and I've looked this up. It's got adjustable push rods, so I'm happy about that. But so there's a leak there. I've already got the seal ready for that. This has me worried because I thought this was a return, and it's completely and utterly blocked off. So I'm going to have a look at that, this middle part here. It also could be a carburetor, which it doesn't have one. It doesn't have a carburetor support. So we might look at the carburetor support as well. I have yet to open up the points cover down here to find out if it's points or electric. I would prefer points over electric, so I have yet to do that. There is a leak coming out of the end, these little seal screws on here. It's coming out down through this one, and I think it's coming out of that one. I think I wiped it away. So I've got the seals for those as well to do, but they're simple. They just take them out and do them in situ, which is a good thing. Right, now, moving on, what have we got? Well, we've got S&S heads. I don't know if they're the big bore heads. I don't know anything about the heads, what style they are. I do know they're S&S because it's plated on the other side. We've got an S&S Super E carburetor, which I'm going to whip the top off and have a look at later on today. And nothing done down here, apparently. I've got receipts from 2018 when the engine was being done and so forth. You can see a bit of wheat there, and I'm sure that's coming off there. Sorry, I'm doing the whole, I'm new to shovels, and crikey, there's a lot of oil leaks, and most of you old heads are saying, oh yeah, of course there's a lot of old leaks, it's a shovel head. This is a S&S oil pump. I don't know if it's high flow or normal flow, but either way it's an oil pump. And yes, it did wet sump, but the good news is, since starting it 3 or 4 times, the wet sumping has disappeared completely. So I'm assuming that that's just 2 months, 3 months of non-starting. The people with good eyes might be looking and seeing that it's got a kickstarter and also a electric starter, and that is because it does. Now, the transmission is a special one. It's a RevTech 5-in-4, which means it's a 5-speed inside a 4-speed case. At least that's how I've worked it out. It has a problem. The clutch is not disengaging enough. So when you're stopped, it's creeping forward, and quite a bit too. You know, I've got to have both brakes on almost to keep the bike from not moving forward. And with the clutch travel being such an annoyance, and also with how heavy the clutch is as well, I'm looking at that. We'll come around to the other side and have a look and see what the hell's going on there. The other thing that's annoying me, I don't know if I can do it, is this pedal. Every single shot of kickstart Harleys has the pedal moving this way, which is fine, except my leg is coming down through there and I'm constantly hitting that. So I'm hoping that if I just turn this off and rotate it so that the pedal can go in that direction, that would be fixed. That, I don't know. Normal everyday battery in there. It needs to go on trickle charge after 3 or 4 days. This bike is going to get used a lot, so I don't know if I need to do that, but my dyno needs to do that, so you know, it is what it is. I don't like the routing of the fuel line through the back there rather than through the middle, but it does have a fuel filter, which is a bonus. The fuel in it is absolute shit. Excuse my French, so that could be why it's having some problems with, I can see some stuff there. I'm worried about this brake eating through the paint. S&S Super E carb, just down in there, looking good. Coming back, covered shocks. I don't know if this black is I think it is actually part of the actual metal, which I'm a little annoyed. I like the full chrome, so we'll see what we can do there. Normal everyday back brake. You can see I've barely used it because of course it's been sitting for some time. Coming around the back, we've got I would call that an FXR back fender, where the little ducktail and the single light. I mean, I like it. One of the stages this poor bike is going to go through is Japanese bobber style, so I may reuse that. Single Lepera bare bone seat. I haven't got enough kilometers on it to know whether or not it's any good or not. It's much lower than the dyno that I'm used to. And we go down here, chrome swing arm, apparently that's a thing. I don't know, it doesn't really bother me that much. And now we come up to what I think is one of the more, it's the elephant in the room, which is a 3-inch BDL open primary. The jury is out. You can see where my feet are going to go, okay? And with I wear Kevlar jeans, but they flap about a bit, and I reckon it could hit in here. I don't know. People say it does. Other people say don't be a wuss. I don't know. I don't like the look of it though. and that's the bigger thing, I suppose. It probably works perfectly. As I say, I haven't been able to get the clutch to work properly. We'll have a look at the clutch in a moment. But the I don't like the look of it. It's very 90s. I don't mind open primaries, especially the ones that use the internal ones, the 1.5 inch ones. You see them in Japan and so forth. A couple of guys are on YouTube who have it, and that would push it further in. I like the forward pegs. I don't necessarily like the actual pegs themselves, but I like the forwards. I don't like the travel for the gear selector. I find that very wishy-washy, especially coming from the dyno anyway. The dyno is click, click, click. That's more of a stir, hope it's in, etc. So yeah, I've had a call into the BDL, and with this style of attachment, I think it's called an EVO10S or F, something like that, I can fit the 2-inch, which would bring, well, pretty much the width of my finger down, which I would actually go for. It's very difficult to get the pulleys for it. I've done a bit of research, and I think all I need is the front pulley, the rear pulley, which is part of the clutch basket. Clutch is the same, and I need the standoffs for these to be the 2-inch instead of the 3-inch. Part of me thinks maybe I just cut them down and tap them, but you know, it is what it is. I am in two minds of whether or not I should go back to the classic internal primary. It really depends on what my end goal is with the bike. Forward controls, no problems with those at all. If you could get them a little bit more forward, it would be nicer, but they're just on the cusp. My dyno has my feet here, so it really isn't much of a stretch to get there. One thing I'm a little bit worried about, because I've just noticed it as I was coming out now, is I think the kickstand, or you Americans call it the jiffy stand, is actually, when it comes up and hits, and there's a witness mark right there. It hits and holds there, right? Which is fine, except I think that little area where the spring takeoff is coming on is actually leaving this wear mark on the belt. Which is a worry. I don't think you can... No, that's all welded up. I'll have to come up with something there. You can see I'm using a wood now. It has got a huge gangster lean, a massive gangster lean. So from that point of view, yeah, it's I need to do something about that. But primarily the three things that are on my mind about getting the bike just running and on the road is definitely the bars, fixing the oil leak that's coming out from down here. This one's more of a weep than a leak, so I'm not too worried about that. The wet sumping issue will come right, and that's about it to get it on the road. So I suppose you thought I was just going to leave you there without starting the engine. Well, she's completely and utterly cold. She's been sitting overnight in 3 or 4 degrees, and I don't know how to start the bike properly, so expect silly buggeries. I'll fast forward till I get to when I can actually start it. The only thing that I'm not too happy about is the fuel enricher needs to be set on for a lot longer than it should be when it's cold. It should be, from what I read, you start it with the enricher on and then you immediately take it off once it's off. So I'm not sure whether or not that's a jetting issue. Could be a points issue if it's points. I don't know. I'm not up with the play with regards to where the issue might be, but I'm not happy with the fact that it needs to be on for a long time. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll try to start it. I'm going to use the electric start first, and then I'm trying my first ever kickstart of a motorcycle. We'll see if that works. I'll put it on the video. We're going to try a kickstart. Oh, yeah, that's going to kick back. Okay, here we go. Oh, nearly. I seem to have glossed over the bigger problem with the bike. The clutch is not disengaging correctly. I will make a video on why I think that might be happening in the future. However, I think it has something to do with the instructions from BDL not being followed correctly on install. The clutch release lever seems to be the original instead of the one required, and the notching on the oil bag support bracket has not been done. I don't think it has enough throw, if that makes sense. Won't know until we get the aluminium dome off and do some clutch investigations. Okay, back to the action. Okay, so that last bit might have had to go back onto the GoPro audio because both saw some oil, and so we were bothering with that. So I don't know how much of the rest of the video I recorded after that. However, we're pretty sure, well, let's talk about the leak, shall we? As you can see, I've now got an oil pan underneath to protect the grass. It's weeping out of the rear seal out the back here. Just this one right here, let's just whip that out, put a new seal in, make sure it's all nice and again. I've got them on order, but the big oil, and I'm hoping that it is from the push rods, like I knew it would be because I saw it, is down through here. Now, if the video shows it was chuffing away with oil coming off and you saw it just billowing out as two old blokes were looking going, it's coming out of here, it's coming out of there. Basically, I'm hoping that what's happened here is that this seal up here, I don't think it's the seal down at the bottom, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad, but I don't think it's the seal at the bottom. If it were the seal at the bottom and not the one at the top, this one's an easier one to get out, but you know, it is what it is. I think it's the top one though, because I think it's coming down through here, pulling around here, then coming down and then out here. And whilst it pulls down here, if you give it a bit of beans or a bit of throttle, I think it's making its way down these cooling veins, down onto the exhaust, well, what would you call that? Manifold takeoff, I suppose. Aperture, anyway, onto this area here, going over this, and then popping down here and burning off. One problem I've seen, and you might be able to see it, let me just get this set up a little bit better. There we go. Right, you might be able to see it just in here. This looks like there's a bit of sealant in there. Now, I'm not so sure I like that. Anyway, it also seemed to be bubbling as well, which means I've got an exhaust gasket issue and seal there. It's one of the Shovelheads with only the one in the front here, okay, which means that pulls up, and this doesn't have anything to pull up against, which means that it can sometimes crack off the, well, not crack, but bend off, and so you can get air leaks out through here. The trick, or the fix apparently, is to put a little bead of weld just there, so as you pull this up it pushes the other side up. So I might have to take the exhaust off and fire up the welder and do that. If that's possible on these exhausts, I don't know. Anyway, so as you can see, slick with oil coming down through here and onto, and it was obviously burning off the pipes as well. The exhausts are black with fuel, but I think that's because the guy was running this for too long. Now, on that note, I did try to kickstart it. I'm not going to try to kickstart it again until I've had a look at the timing on this. I need to take this cover off to see what we've got underneath. And I had thought maybe to actually go around to the other side of the bike and just get the top dead center through the hole there, just to get bang on top dead center so I know exactly what's going on and so forth. Yeah, she's got a lot of work, boys, a lot of work. I'll try to show as much as I can. I mean, putting seals in, yeah, fine. You know how to do that. There's tons of YouTube videos to do that. But so what I might do is do an update once I've put the fuel in. Oh, it does need new fuel, but once I've put the seals in to see whether or not that fixes this oil. I'm pretty sure it's this one. The others aren't leaking, but I'll replace them anyway. But the rears are perfectly fine. It didn't wet sump, which was good. At least I think it is. I think the design is the same on the S&S as it is to standard, so I just need to work out which one's got the ball cock in it and see what the hell's going on. Should I say the ball check valve? But that'll do us for today. I might just do have a look and just see if there's any points in there. Then I'm going to probably degrease her down out here and then wheel her back into the garage and probably put the oil pan underneath as well. Yeah, it wasn't as wonderful as I thought it was going to be with regards to being able to ride home on it and all of that sort of stuff, but you know, it's a Shovelhead, it's what you expect, isn't it? So I went in with my eyes wide open, knowing that there was going to be some issues. I thought I might be able to handle the bars. I can't handle the bars. And as for that belt drive, yeah, I'm not 100% with it. And if that is how difficult it is to kick, then I'm not sure I'll go a tin primary either with no kick, going kick only, because one of them, it nearly threw me over. So anyway, and I'm a heavy boy. Okay, well, we'll pick it up later sometime. I'm not one of those YouTubers that says I've got to have content and all this sort of stuff, so the next upload will be when the next upload is. Cheers. Oh, I might be back just to show the points. Okay, so after dealing with a stripped screw, I have managed to finally get the cover off, and unfortunately for me, it's got electronic ignition. I don't know if that brand is a good brand or not. There's a part number there which I'm going to be able to use. I can see that the RPM limit has been set to 7,700, which is insane. However, I noticed that when the bike is running, that the RPM gauge on that silly digital tack is showing 2,300, and there's no way it's showing it's 2,300. It's just barely ticking over, so that could just be handled by these. I don't know. Advanced slope is set to 1.5, I'd say, and the mode select is 9. I have no idea what that means. I could, and I've got all the parts. I don't have them parts actually here, but I've got the parts set ready to buy to convert to points. But the problem is you also need to make sure that your coil over there on the other side of the bike is 4 ohm or more. So that's an added thing that I've got to buy. But it might be a good idea to go through the electrics anyway, because these electrics, they're not mine. And I'm going to be replacing the digital gauge anyway. So it might pay to possibly simplify this bastard down. I'm going to keep the electric start, so that needs a bit of chasing away, but I reckon I could get away with maybe 3 breakers and a very simple wiring loom, which would be really cool. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there for you fellas. We'll see what we do with regards to this, and thanks for watching.